Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I guess I could say channel instead of podcast since this is strictly just on YouTube. Welcome back to the mini episodes. I'm glad to have you back. Glad that you're watching all of it. Just thank you for being here. Today, we're going to be talking about a book that took me a long time to finish. I want to say it was at the beginning of this year that I found this book on TikTok and people were raving about it. So, of course, I'm going to be like, I'll download it. I'll see what it's about. There's multiple in my Kindle app right now that's in the same circumstance where I heard about it on TikTok. I heard it was great, and then it's just kind of sat there, and I haven't read a couple books because other books have come first. So this was one that I got about halfway, and I got bored. I'm gonna be honest. I got bored. So I didn't read it for a couple months. And then a week ago, I am like, you know what? Or 2 weeks ago, that I was like, I'm just going to finish it. Like, I don't care. I'm just going to finish it. It sucks that I stopped like halfway through. Like, let me just check it off my list. And I did. And it got better. The last half did get better. The pacing was slow. And yeah, I wanted more. I wanted more. There is a really great twist at the end. There was multiple twists actually, throughout the book. And the first one, I guessed from kind of the very beginning, I guessed it. But the end one, I had no idea. No idea. Like, didn't even like cross my mind, I don't think. I'm not going to tell you what it is, or maybe I should. Maybe at the end. The end, I will tell you what it is. So I'll let you know before I reveal it. So in case you do want to go read it, that you totally can, or if you're in the middle of it, I'm not going to spoil that for you. You'll be able to turn it off or whatever. So the book is The Prison Healer by Lynette Nani, and I probably should have said that a while ago as I've been like explaining it, but you can see from the title that's what it is. It didn't keep me engaged. It was a good story. That's the thing, is that it was a very good story. It definitely needed polishing, and if a couple things were a bit like rearranged or a little bit faster or a little bit cut short and then more added in at the end, I want to say, like, just some rearranging and a little bit of rewriting. Like, the story was great. Like, I loved the world that was being built. I felt that there could be a lot more world building. We are in this prison the whole book, and I wanted to know more about what was happening outside of this prison. Like, there was mentions of this rebellion. People don't like the crown and like these like the royals and everything, but nothing really, I don't know, nothing really stood out more than what was being said. And there was great explanation of the prison and the people that are in the prison and kind of like the dynamic there. Like, I thought that was explained really well. But I wanted to know more about the world in general. Like, there were hints that the main character, I'm going to say Kiva, there were hints that she might have magic, and then there was no other mention of it until like the very end. Uh, no, yeah, there was not a lot of mention of it. So I understood why she had to keep it hidden, but I don't know, like, I wanted more from it. There was absolutely no spice. And I don't know if I just missed that. Like, maybe it is in the category of like young adult, maybe teenage category. If it was, I missed it. So I do think that like a teenager, like probably like 15 plus, could definitely read this, and they would be totally fine. Like, I think teenagers and young adults would really like this book if they don't want any spice. There's a little bit of a romance, but nothing inappropriate, nothing really explicit, just nothing. Like, maybe there's a kiss. I don't even know if there is a kiss. There's just like a hint of the two characters liking each other. So, a little bit about the book. As we know, she's a prison healer. That's what the title is. And at the very beginning, when she's really young, her and her dad get captured and put in this prison. And her dad took on the role of being the healer. He's always been a healer. So he took that role on in the prison, and then he got sick. A lot of the prisoners were getting sick at that time, and he died. And so she took over from a young age of being the prison healer. And so that's what she's been the whole time. She kind of has like an in with the warden. She's kind of his eyes and ears of what's happening in the prison. And so a lot of prisoners don't like her because of that. But she does get treated better from the warden and the guards because of it. Like, people don't mess with her because she's the healer. Like, they want her to be able to heal. And like I said, there's a big rebellion outside of the prison that people are rising up, like the territories or whatever the kingdoms are split into, they're rising up. And there is talk of this rebel queen and that she is leading the rebels. And then they get news that she was captured and that she was being transferred to this prison. And she gets there and she's very, very sick. She's injured, very sick. So Kiva has been like trying to heal her. The rebel queen, like, hasn't really been waking up. She's very like delusional. She's very just out of it. And so Kiva has secretly been communicating with her outside family through secret ways. And they send her a note that says, "Keep her alive. We are coming." And she's gotten that message, the "we are coming," multiple times throughout the years. And so she's like kind of been preparing herself. But this note was different, saying, "Keep her alive. We are coming." And so that's what she's been trying to do, is keep the rebel queen alive. Even though a lot of the prisoners like want her to die, she continues to keep her alive. And because I actually don't remember if it is for her like trial or for her to get out of prison or for her to like the outcome of her. There's like 4 trials. There's like of the elements. So in order for this rebel queen to even like, I don't know if she can get out of prison or just kind of like acquit herself, she would have to go through these 4 trials. But obviously she is sick, and so they're like, haha, she is not going to be able to do this. Like, she's just going to die. And I wouldn't say this is a spoil. No, I guess it kind of is. That Kiva becomes her champion. She's like, I am going to take on, or what is it said? She claims her sentence. Kiva claims her sentence. So she is going to be the champion of the rebel queen because the rebel queen is obviously sick. And there was a couple sentences before she decides to do that like I didn't really understand until like the very end, that she was like, okay, I knew what I needed to do. And I'm like, how, like, what did you need to do? And then she goes and tells the warden that she's going to take her place. And I'm like, wait, where did those thoughts come from? Like, I don't know what is happening. So that was very surprising change. And then, so she goes through the four trials, and she survives through various different ways. The first one was by air. She had to like jump from like a tower to the wall or something. And 2 of the royals, like the prince and princess, are there. And the prince actually saves her and like helps her. She gets knocked out, but she still passes the trial. And so the next one is by fire. Yes, by fire. And the princess gives her an amulet that helps her to not burn, because she's put in like the crematory. Basically, they're trying to cremate her, but she's able to stand in the fire because she has this amulet. So the warden's getting upset. He's like, these royals, they can't interfere. Like, you can't do this. And so they still do. And so then we get to this is happening over the whole book, is these trials. Like it takes a while to get to these trials. I want to say that there's like a couple weeks in between. And so meanwhile, the prisoners are getting sick again, like the same sickness that her dad had. And so she's trying to solve this mystery of how these prisoners are getting sick. And so that's kind of like a side storyline that was fine, but I didn't feel it wasn't intense enough, or I didn't feel like super hooked into that. I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, not cool that they're getting sick, but like, why do we want to save them? You know, like none of her friends are sick. There is one little boy that is sick that she like helps save. But there was no like, I don't know. I wasn't invested enough in the story or the books or the characters to really be like, oh my gosh, she has to find why they're sick. Then it comes to the trial of water, and there was a prisoner that came in probably a couple weeks, a month, couple months before the Rebel Queen did, that he is an attractive guy. And I actually don't know how old these characters are, but he kind of like latches on to Kiva. And so you're like, okay, who's this guy? And his name is Jaren. And from this point on, this is where I'm going to have spoilers. So if you're not ready for spoilers, or you want to read this book, definitely click away now. Make sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram. Okay, so if you're here now that you're like, I'm not really going to read this book, or I am going to read it, but I still want to know, you're my people. So Jaren he saves her in the water trial. So she is down there. She has to like hold her breath a certain amount. He comes up, he like dives in, comes up. He does an air bubble. So he actually is the prince, like the royal prince. Like they just had like a decoy when the prince and princess were there, but Jaren is actually the prince, and he's been in this prison to kind of get more information from the Rebel Queen and all that. So he helps save Kiva in this trial. And the warden again is upset. He's like, what is happening? So he doesn't tell her that he is a royal until he saves her in there. And then the warden's like, okay, well, if you're going to help her, you're going to do the last trial with her, which he buries them like clear underground. But Jaren is like, no, I also have the power of earth, like the magic of earth, so we're going to get out of here. Which I guess the royals only really have like one or two elements, but Jaren actually has all four. So he is like really powerful. And when they get out of this cave, or like wherever they are, it's like a madhouse. Like everyone is fighting, like the rebels that were in the prison have rebelled, like guards are being killed, like it's absolute chaos. And so they run to the Rebel Queen, and she's dead. She's dead, like her throat's been slit. Kiva is very upset. They do find out why prisoners are getting sick. It is the warden. I think he's putting it in the water, maybe. But he's poisoning them. And at the very end, we find out, are you ready for this? We find out that Kiva is the rebel princess, that the Rebel Queen was her mother. We had no indication that she was her mother. We had no indication that she even knew her. Like, nothing. Nothing. Like, completely out of the blue. I had no idea. Like, I maybe thought, like, okay, maybe she's, like, related, or maybe, like, I don't know. Like, just, I had no idea. I had no idea. So the book ends on that cliffhanger and them escaping. So her and Jaren, and then I want to say that there are a couple other people that escape with them. Yeah, I think that there's a second book, but I don't think I'm going to read it because it took me forever to read this one. But it was a great ending because I was like, ooh, that's a good twist. That's a good turn. Like, okay, cool. But yeah. Again, not going to continue. So that is The Prison Healer. I don't really have any other thoughts. It wasn't what I thought it would be. Good parts, other parts need work, but overall, great story. Great story. The characters were had great bones. I wanted a little bit more to them, but overall great. Like I didn't get annoyed. Um, so a solid book. I would say it's like a 3 out of 5. Like it was a good start. And I hope to see more of this author. I don't know if she's like a new author and maybe this was her first book or she's been writing for more like writing for longer. I don't know. But yeah, good start. I did want to update you that I just finished Dawn of Onyx, which I've already read it before by Kate Golden, but I wanted to read it because I finally want to read the second book so that I can do a mini episode on it. So I finished that, starting on the second book today. And I'm also listening to The Never King by LJ Andrews. I forgot how much I loved it. But again, I'm listening to it so like that I can listen during work so that I can read the second book. Because that's another one that the second book has been released, but I just haven't had a chance to read it, or I wanted to read the first one for so that I could remember what's happening. That's what's happening there. So then uh The Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer was just released today or yesterday. And I'm like, yes, immediately yes. So I need to start on that as well. Um, I really want to start reading Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I really want to start reading that. There's just so many that I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I have to like pace myself or I have to like not do a million books because I just need to calm down. That's the moral of the story. I just need to calm down. It's I don't have a timeline. Like I just need to be calm and read. Like keep calm and read. Remember that fad or trend that everyone was doing? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this mini episode and definitely subscribe and give me a thumbs up and I will see you next week.